wake-up call. Big man ballin', Chargers and Rams. Noah Eagle on the call.
Bennett feels it.
Oh, this time it is picked. It's a big man interception. T-Raw Edwards lowers the shoulder. The earth is shaking. Edwards, takeaway. Chargers in business.
All right, so it's all fun and games. Everyone loves the big man, right? Exactly, Dan, right?
Well, like, why are we, it's the preseason, defensive coaches. We're dropping defensive tackles into coverage in the preseason now?
See, you're overlooking the most important part of this video.
Stetson Bennett, why is he trying to make
What the hell is Stetson Bennett doing?
Oh, you're doing this again?
Don't make a tackle for the love of all things holy, especially in the preseason.
No, you know what the best
And
way to
now
make
we
a
have
team
two
is?
Rams quarterbacks with bad backs.
I've said it before. I will say it again. There should be a low-flying helicopter hovering over every NFL field. And when there is a change of possession, a little rope ladder should drop out of it, and the quarterback should be able to grab on and be whisked away like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. There is no reason in the world in a preseason. This is quarterback Stetson Bennett going to get himself killed in there.
I mean,
are you kidding me?
It's run
maybe
over.
go different. Maybe go with a different tackle.
I mean, look.
He got trucked. He got trucked.
He just ran into him. Oh, my goodness. Anyway.
The big fella.
The big fella, T-Raw Edwards with the pick.
How about the
and then the
spat around
pancake.
cleats?
All right, let's talk about other quarterbacks with our quarterback, Dan Orlovsky. Let's begin in New Orleans. They got an interesting question there. You got Spencer Rattler. You got Tyler Shuck. How do you see it?
I would start Spencer Rattler. Tyler Shuck has had some good moments, yes, and he's the rookie draft pick. Held on to the football a couple times yesterday. But for me, Spencer Rattler's just got some high-end talent. It's not perfect by any means.
Yeah.
There is that gunslinger element to it. But the ability to make some big-time throws showed up again in that comeback tie yesterday. And if I'm New Orleans and Kellen Moore, I'm going to start Spencer Rattler and see what happens and go from there.
He looked good. He looked good at the end of the game this week.
He did look good. Let's go to New England. What are you hearing about Drake May?
I just want the aggressive Drake May back. Like, this is the preseason. It's 3 verticals. Minnesota changes from 1 safety deep to 2 safety deep. If you get a receiver matched up on a linebacker and both those safeties have deep and decent width, I want you to launch that ball, Drake May. Now, you get outside the pocket and make a nice play, and the end result is great, but I want the aggressive, star, big-time athlete back that I haven't seen so far this preseason. Another opportunity to throw an in-breaker. Those linebackers are low. We saw Caleb Williams throw it to Loveland last night. Get it over the top and rip it. Instead, it's this runaround. So it's preseason. I'm not going to overreact, but I do want to make sure that we're aggressive in New England.
All right, and then here's the really big one. The quarterback battle, they're going to make a decision soon here. Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones.
Hard. I think it's very difficult, but I'm starting Anthony Richardson. If we took the one play away, the fumble that got the pinky hurt from last week, he's looked really good. Strong in the pocket. This throw's absolutely off the charts, and I just can't quit Anthony Richardson. Go through the growing pains, give him 4 weeks, give him 6 weeks. He's got to handle his part. But if I'm the Colts, I think I'm going with Anthony.
Super quick. What are they going to do? They're going to announce it this week, right?
I think we could get that as early as today.
Right.
And I think Daniel Jones, for the moment they paid him that money, shaped up as the favorite. And I think if you start Anthony Richardson.
Really?
I think if you start Anthony Richardson and you pull him, it's over. And I think if you start Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson could be a savior later on. We'll see what they decide today, but that decision could come also as early as today.
Very quick.
Yeah, I totally agree. 13 career college starts. To me, I would go with the veteran Jones and bring Anthony Richardson along slowly.
All right, we'll come back to that one, but we have another intriguing quarterback situation. Daniel Jones' once upon a time team, the New York Giants. Jaxson Dart, you know the story. They traded up to take him. He was 14 of 16 for 137 yards against the Jets on Saturday night. He threw a 20-yard touchdown, had another one on the ground in a sneak. It's becoming an incredibly impressive preseason. Let me show you the numbers. Jaxson Dart completing 74% of his passes, a quarterback rating of 117. Most of it has been short stuff, under 10 air yards, but when he's aired it out, he's 5 of 11 with 10 passing touchdowns. Has Jaxson Dart been as good as we think he's been? I can tell you right now, the fans in this city here in New York are over the moon with Jaxson Dart. Has he been that good?
He has, and he's played like a guy that I really thought should be a top 10 pick. The most interesting part through 2 weeks for me is it looks like in New York they're doing with Jaxson Dart what Washington last year did with Jaden Daniels. And that means taking a lot of the things that he did and was comfortable in college and doing it in the NFL. He's got open 5 wide receivers. This is a lot of the things that he did at Ole Miss. He gets 2 safeties deep. We want to work the middle of the field. He's very comfortable at just moving that backside safety and then trusting his arm talent to rip this ball over the underneath defenders, but before that backside safety gets there. He did that a lot at Ole Miss. This is an Ole Miss play. You fake the toss, you're trying to get those backers to move sideline to sideline, and now you have that lifted coverage that is what we call that umbrella shell, and again, you replace him with the tight end. He did just that very play in college. So I'm not telling everybody they should start him, but I do find it interesting that Washington did this with Jaden Daniels last year. It looks like New York is doing it with darts.
Doesn't every team do that for their quarterback?
No.
Mike Shanahan used to do that for Robert Griffin III in Washington.
Not every team does it, though, but that is another very good
Every
example.
team should do it.
Yes.
Not every team does do it. A lot of these coaches are such geniuses that they have to, their system is what's going to win, and it doesn't make any difference what player they plug in. The good coaches are the ones who tailor what they do around the talents of their players. That said, you have been, from day one, Mike, saying that Jaxson Dart should be their starter.
Yeah, from the time he was picked in Green Bay, give him the playbook and never look back for a number of reasons. Like in talking with them, everything that Dan just said about what he's done on the field, they're even more impressed about off the field, the intangibles, the leadership, the energy, the juice. He is the guy, he is their future. And Hembo gave me a great stat about Russell Wilson, who's going to be 37 Greeny in November. Last year, he was sacked at a rate 31% above league average on an offensive line that had an above average pass block win rate. And when you look at the Giants, the right side of their offensive line is a concern. So when you have someone who is as athletic as Jaxson Dart, he can minimize that concern. And I will tell you this, going back to Mark Sanchez when we were at the Jets, he has looked way better in the preseason than Mark Sanchez did. We started Mark Sanchez from day one. We got to the championship game, and there's no reason you can't live with the growing pains of Jaxson Dart early to be much better in November and December. Are you applauding that?
No.
Thank you.
So I wouldn't start him right away. I wouldn't. Here's my concern when you make the comment, he's athletic enough to cover it up. I always say this. For the young, super talented quarterbacks that are athletic, you actually want to develop a little bit of their game to be less reliant upon that. Because we all get to a point where we say, you have to play from the pocket in the NFL to be consistently good long term. And I think what happens with the guys that are athletic that get shoved onto the field right away is, while their athleticism gives them a chance to survive a little bit, it never really allows them to develop a proper way because they're so reliant on it. And so for me, yes, the athleticism matters for Jaxson Dart, but if the offensive line is poor, I don't want him thinking, well, I'll just continue to run around and not develop the necessary in-pocket stuff that he does have to develop.
And there are questions about the Giants' offensive line, but there don't appear to be any questions, despite this conversation, about what this team is doing on opening day. They continue to insist that they plan to start Russell Wilson in the regular season opener against the Washington Commanders. I expect them to give the Commanders all they can handle that day.
Agreed.
And by the way, Russell Wilson has looked pretty good. Look at this throw early on. I know we're talking about how great Jaxson Dart has looked, and he has, but Russell Wilson also has looked good, and they're doing all this without Malik Neighbors, who hasn't practiced in nearly 2 weeks.
There's no question that Russell Wilson, when protected, can throw a great deep ball.
Yeah.
He's a borderline Hall of Famer. The issue is going to be when they're not well protected and it breaks down, which we've seen with the Giants over the last couple of years. One guy could survive, the other can't. I work with Brian Daboll. I've seen him adjust. I've seen him adjust when we got Brett Favre late. I think he could put together a game plan to minimize Jaxson Dart's lack of experience.
Can I say something that would also probably qualify as overreacting to what we're seeing in the preseason? The Giants are way better than people think. The Giants are not a bad team. Yeah. Now, their schedule is so brutal that the one-loss record, when it's all said and done, might not reflect how much better they are than people's perception right now. But I think you could make an argument last year that, they were one of the 2 or 3 worst teams in the NFL. They don't look like that at all. Look at this. I mean, it's just, I don't know what the Cowboys are going to be. And maybe the Commanders will take a little step backwards. Maybe they come out of that first little stretch. Maybe they come out of those first 2 games 2-0.
And
now think about the conversation
that's when it starts to get interesting, because you're saying how difficult the schedule is, and on paper today, before the season begins, it certainly looks that way. But schedules often are not what you think they are, and they take funny twists and turns.
Yeah.
So before saying this is brutal schedule, the hardest schedule in the NFL is projected. Let's just see how the season plays out. Let's see how the Giants are. If the defense is as good as they think, if Russell Wilson plays well, if Malik Neighbors comes back, a lot of ifs, I got it. The point is, I believe, you believe, the Giants are going to be a little bit better than people expect this year.
Long term. The Giants have to be focused on long term. We have watched two guys that they drafted early. One has become a superstar elsewhere because he's been in a better situation, that being Saquon Barkley. And the quarterback, the owner came out and admitted on own merit, we've done everything we can to set him up for failure. Whether people thought Daniel Jones was going to be great or not, whatever. So you can't remember that season, that Dable's first year when they went to the playoffs, and it almost was like a bad thing because it expedited expectations? It's very similar for me. Just because Jaxson Dart has performed well in the preseason doesn't mean we tear up the plan of what the actual goal is.
Dan, I totally disagree because I lived it. You could win for today and develop for tomorrow.
Mike T, you guys had a freaking ridiculous defense and the ability to run the ball 40 times a game.
You know what you also had? You had a
That's
coach
right.
in his first year. So we had Rex, who had the luxury, like John Mara needs to tell Brian Daboll and Joe Shane, you guys aren't getting fired. Do whatever is best in the long run for this team because as opposed to the mandate of, well, I'm losing my patience out here, Bruce, and all of that stuff that we've heard from him.
I get that, but Jaxson Dart's energy is, I'm just telling you, contagious, and he energized that team, and I think they could do that from day one.
He's going to play this year. The question is how soon, and we'll wait and see. Coming up next, we've got a shocker, potentially, a stunner from the college football world. Could every